to introduce Dr. Diane Culik from Michigan in the United States. Thank you for joining me, Diane.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Could you tell us when you first heard about LDN?
About naltrexone?
Mm-hmm.
I think I was listening to an interview that Jeffrey Bland did with Bert Berkson and how he was using it. And then I think I saw an interview that Dr. Mercola did with Dr. Berkson also. And so at that point I read about it and looked up some things on the internet, which I was surprised that there was, a fair amount of information about the history of it. So I was fascinated, and it seemed very safe, and so I started trying it and found out that the compounding pharmacy that makes hormone creams in the area, several of them do it, would be able to make the naltrexone doses. So I started using it, and I've had many people do very well. I think I first started it with multiple sclerosis, with MS, but have had patients use it with Lyme disease and cancer and lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. One case I was interested, a woman came and wanted to try it for her bad osteoarthritis. And I said I didn't think it would help, but she said she had dramatic results. That was surprising. I don't know that it's been used much for that, but it seemed to help her. But probably more so I've used it with cancer and MS, and it's a lot of times difficult in cancer because I usually have many nutritional things that people are using and other supplements that they're taking. So it's hard to correlate directly, but definitely with MS, I've had some patients doing very well on it and then thinking that it wasn't helping them anymore, stopped it, and found that their symptoms recurred and they got back on it and they did better. So definitely seems to get a correlation that it's helping. Mm-hmm. I've had some Lyme patients who have used it. Some thought it helped, some didn't. But again, I usually have them on other things with herbs and more now essential oils or antibiotics. So it's interesting. And one of the fascinating articles I've read recently, and I don't know how much is true, but that multiple sclerosis is Lyme disease. And I wouldn't say it is 100%, of the article seemed to indicate that, but I've definitely seen many people who were diagnosed with MS and had brain lesions and neurologic symptoms who, on further testing, do show positive for Lyme and seem to respond to Lyme treatments. So I think there must be a significant number. I haven't done a study, but in March, I was at a holistic conference in Tampa, Florida, and heard a physician who was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and after multiple testings, finally showed also positive for Lyme, and when he treated the Lyme, his ALS cleared up.
Wow.
And resolved his symptoms. So I think at least there's got to be some proportion of people who are being missed with Lyme disease. And the great thing, the naltrexone is helpful for pretty much anything that affects the immune system.
Mm-hmm. Have any of your patients reported any adverse side effects?
Did they have any side effects?
Yes.
Did you say?
Mm-hmm.
A few people I've had to go very slowly. Usually I start them right out on either 3 milligrams for non-cancer or 4.5 for cancer, and most of them have no problems, but I've had a few with nausea or muscle aches, and I think it's boosting their immune system too quickly, especially some of the Lyme patients. But most of them tolerate it well and take it as directed at bedtime, mm-hmm. and have good results. So I think it's a fabulous option. I have, several patients who are not happy that it's not covered by their insurance, and obviously I tell them it's not FDA approved in those doses or for those indications. So our government, our FDA, has not approved it for so many of the things that we're using it for, but as long as they know it's off-label and an alternative, fortunately, most of them are willing to at least try it and pay for it and mm-hmm. Use it. So it would be nice if it was approved, but as I tell people, I don't think the company or anybody's going to do millions or billions of dollars of research for it at this point. So we're stuck with just having it made up at the compounding pharmacies.
And if people in Michigan would like to actually come and have a consultation with you, how would they go about that?
They could go to my website, which is www.dr for Dr. Culik, CULIK.com, and my address and information is in there, but also our phone number at the office is toll-free. It's 855-669-9355. So I am accepting new patients, and I do have people somehow find me off and on just coming in looking for naltrexone for things that they've read about. Mm-hmm. Most of them that I see probably hadn't heard of it, and it's just one of the things that I may offer and tell them about. And I've got several article summaries at the office that explains the history of how it's been used and what they think the effect is, and people seem very interested in trying it. I use a lot of other nutritionals and vitamins and herbs and essential oils for immune system benefits.
Mm-hmm. And whereabouts in Michigan are you?
Sterling Heights is a suburb of Detroit. It's sort of northern suburb of Detroit. And it's a big city, but it's pretty accessible by any of the freeways in the city. Mm-hmm. And I do occasionally see people for other things, for hormones and consultations from the west side of the state, from northern Michigan, from Indiana, Ohio. I have a few people come in from other places. I saw an interesting woman who flew in from Canada and has family in this area because she had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and was concerned whether it was related to food allergies or Lyme, and she showed very elevated antibodies on a Cyrex test, C-Y-R-E-X. I think it's cyrexlabs.com, and they can actually measure antibodies to parts of the brain. She had them to the cerebellum and different parts of the brain, and very high food antibodies. So I think for her, and we'll see how she does with time avoiding those foods, that may have been her trigger. And absolutely, almost 100% of people I see with autoimmune diseases, whether it's lupus or rheumatoid or scleroderma, have food allergies. So even though the naltrexone definitely helps, to me, if they don't get an IgG food allergy test and eliminate the foods that they're reactive to, it's very hard for them to get better.
Right.
So I definitely think people need to have IgG food allergy testing as well. I don't know if that's available in England, and some of the hospitals here don't even do the testing. And most of the labs are not good for testing for Lyme here, so we have to send off special tests sometimes to California with IGeneX. So I see many people that have been missed as far as getting down to the source of their problems.
Well, we could certainly do with more open-minded doctors like yourself in the world. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing your inspirational story with us.
Oh, thank you for asking. And it's so good. You know, I think people need to be on the lookout themselves and search and research and be open. And much of the time I'm just giving people, you know, articles, websites, information. And I tell a lot of them they're going to know way more than the doctors because the doctors aren't researching those things. And they need to, you know, stand up and arm themselves with information and get people to address their issues. It's certainly doctors, amazingly in this day, are still brainwashed by the powers of money in the pharmaceutical industry, and traditional conferences only address pharmaceutical drugs, and there's so much more out in the world that can help people feel better that's not from the pharmaceutical industry, or that's used like naltrexone, that is completely off-label, used for other things than what our FDA approves it for. But people seem to understand and arm themselves with that knowledge and information, and then they can take care of themselves.
Thank you.